On the go? So are we. Get the IBJ Media app, your all-in-one news source for Indiana business news. Get breaking news alerts, read every story from IBJ, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Lawyer, and listen to your favorite podcasts all in one place. Big news, small screen. Search IBJ Media and download the app today.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. The owner of Saint Benedict's Brew Works in Du Bois County is planning a similar operation with a new artisan distillery on the grounds of Saint Meinrad Archabbey in nearby Spencer County. Vince Lukey said Spirits of Saint Benedict is expected to open in late 2026 and will be the only artisan distillery located on the grounds of a monastery in the U.S.
I think there's a couple California monastery wineries that do sherry and a few other things. But as far as kind of the gamut of distilled spirits, will be unique in that way.
The distillery will produce small batch bourbons and other spirits out of the Archabbey's former gift shop. Louisiana-based Consolidated Grain and Barge Company broke ground Tuesday on a $47 million expansion that it says will triple grain handling capacity at the company's soybean processing facility at the Ports of Indiana-Mount Vernon. The expansion, set for completion in 2027, will add 4.25 million bushels of grain storage capacity and increase truck unloading capacity by 200%. A former Ball State University administrator and membership director of the Schaefer Leadership Academy in Muncie has been named the next executive director of the Grant County Economic Growth Council. Ted Ward assumed his new role on Monday, succeeding Chuck Binkard, who plans to retire July 1st. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Southwest Indiana is essential to elevating Indiana's future. Explore how IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the state of Indiana are bringing a bold vision for regional growth at Innovate Southwest Indiana, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. Join Governor Mike Braun and business and community leaders in Evansville for a conversation on growth, workforce development, and innovation. We'll be at Ridgeway University Center June 9th. RSVP now at ibj.com/innovate.
Marian University Plymouth is launching a hands-on learning and entrepreneurship space after securing a nearly $25,000 grant from the Marshall County Community Foundation, giving students and community members a place to develop skills, build products, and explore emerging technologies. The Marian Innovation and Makerspace will open this fall in a converted computer lab inside the university's main building. Assistant Professor of Agriculture Neil Knapp said a portion of the foundation's grant was directed toward the university's vertical farming program for the purchase of 2 new hydroponic tower systems developed by Evansville-based Anew.
The towers provide a really good recruitment and retention tool. So the more students learn by doing, the more likely they're not only to decide to go to college, but to stay in college and then graduate. And so we've seen substantial shift in data around experiential education and student-centered education and how that not only gets students to attend college, but to finish, which we think is a great investment in the future of agriculture and also just the workforce in general.
Knapp said the program is grounded in the values of the university as a Catholic institution, connecting agricultural education to broader questions of food access and public health. The Parke County Commissioners this week approved an ordinance placing heavy restrictions on future data center projects. Our partners at WTWO-TV report the commissioners made a public statement indicating they have no interest in a data center in the county, though they were advised by their attorney that they cannot outright ban such projects. The new ordinance would allow for data center development only if the facility has its own electric system that is independent from the local grid. It must also have its own closed-loop water system that does not rely on the local water supply. Evansville-based Be Happy Pie Company is continuing to grow its footprint more than 2 years after opening its second brick-and-mortar location. Owner Jenny Lamble says the company has moved into franchising, opening its first franchise location last year in Paducah, Kentucky, and another just last week in suburban Kansas City, Missouri.
Not only are we, supporting two locations here in Evansville, we're also trying to support our franchisees who are doing great things. So we're just thrilled with the growth. We're trying to grow, slowly and purposefully, so we don't overwhelm ourselves. But it's been it's been a great learning experience.
Earlier this month, Be Happy Pie Company was recognized as Indiana's 2026 Entrepreneur of the Year by the Indiana Small Business Development Center. Lumina Foundation's CEO Jamie Marasotis is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.